Google are professionals in hiding data from you, hiding the truth of what is actually going on with your account. I audit hundreds of accounts as part of running my agency, and I see it so often that people do not have the columns set up within their Google Ads account, and so they don't get to see 95% of the data that is available to them, and so have no idea really what is actually going on with their account. And so they're not really aware of if they're finding success or not. And also they can't diagnose problems within Google Ads itself, and also with the traffic that they're then sending to the website on what is happening, what is going right, what is going wrong, and then trying to develop and improve based on that. So in this video, I'm going to give you the professional agency standard of how to set up your columns within Google Ads. I'm going to give you the actual spreadsheet as well, which gives all of these columns. This spreadsheet is a quick downloadable that you can find in the description. It also has LinkedIn ads and meta ads columns. So all of this entirely for free for you. So you can head there, download it right now. But I'm going to go through those columns in this video. I'm also going to talk about custom columns, which are really helpful within Google Ads, especially with how I like to use it anyway. And I think could really help you to diagnose, like I said, some of these things that are going well and not going well, so that you can find ever more success within the world of Google Ads. So let's dig into it now. So firstly, we're in a generic client of ours at this exact moment. We have a couple of campaigns running. And so there's the campaign level of columns, and then there's ad group level columns, and then there's keyword level columns. So they all do vary slightly. In particular though, it's campaign and keyword level are especially different. Annoyingly, Google Ads doesn't let you just transfer them through, so you have to set them up each time. But firstly, you'd go to columns, modify your columns, and then you save as a preset. So I just save them as SC each time. So let's go through each of them. So we start with the name of the campaign. Of course, this is helpful to have first because it just lets you define each one. And then the budget. This is very important, how much you're actually spending each day. Then the status. So this changes often and it gives you lots of good signals like limited by budget, for example. So that's really important to note. Bid strategy. So that's really important to be remembering when you're judging the data that you're looking at. So whether that's manual CPC, maximize conversions, maximize clicks, etc. We then go into the cost. So how much have you actually spent? Because this is the structure to the rest of the data. If you've only spent £100, and you're trying to judge a cost per conversion, which is £200, it's not really very fair. It's not enough data. So it's very important to be aware of how much you've spent before you look at the rest of your data. And then it really turns into a very simple kind of funnel from the point of someone discovering your brand all the way through to actually converting, even through to offline conversions and things like that. So we start with impressions, through to clicks, through to average CPC. We then also have got interactions, and so you can see that these are essentially the same. So Google doesn't have them both, but I like to have them separate. So sometimes if you're doing a video views campaign or something else, then that would be registered within this interactions section. But I like to have it as a separate column of clicks. It just makes it easier to read as I go through the columns, but they're essentially the same. You can see 115, 115, and 15.15 and 15.15 in this case, because we're just doing search campaigns with this particular client. And then we've got the click-through rate. So of course this is important to understand. Brand always has a very high one, and just normal search campaigns less so. You should always be splitting brand from general search. It's a very common mistake I see within campaigns, within companies' accounts. Conversions. So this is your primary conversions. These are just the conversions that we've set as primary. So these are the ones that matter. So this is purchases or leads completed of some kind. There is nuances to this, which I'll talk about later. Then we have conversion value. This is another thing that people often don't set up. So we want to set the value of a conversion, because this actually, even if you're doing lead gen, you can still then start to decide, are we making a profit or not? Plus you can then do things like conversion value divided by cost. So that's like your ROAS essentially. Then we've got conversion rate. This is very important to always be considering how good is the website doing. If you've got a lead gen situation and you're converting only 0.5% of traffic into leads, you're going to always struggle to make Google Ads work for yourself. So it's important to be considering this. All conversions. So this is different to conversions because this is other types of conversions. So things like someone just basically spending 5 minutes on your website, or someone adding to basket, or initiating checkout, or doing other things like filling out your email contact form, but not maybe actually doing the purchase thing that you mainly want them to do. So this is good because it's a secondary metric. So maybe lots of people are engaging with you in some way, but just not quite converting. So then that tells you there's something wrong with the final close, basically, within the flow. So this is really good. And then we have phone calls and chats. These are other types of conversions that sometimes people will have. View through conversions is sometimes important with more like the display network, which doesn't really get conversions much. And then search impression share. These ones you never will have unless you add them. So these are the competitive metrics. So search impression share is how much out of 100 searches that are available, how many are you actually showing up for? And then this is search impression share top. So how often are you showing up at the top section? Lost. And then these are based on how often are you losing out because of ad rank or because of your budget. So these are really great for diagnosing why you're not showing up. There's so much interesting stuff. There's a massive topic to talk about these columns, so I'm not going to talk about them in this video, but make sure to add them. And if you want to understand them, the first step is just hover over them and it gives you a perfect description of exactly what they are. Going into display impression share, display lost impression share, etc. This is the display network. Click share, this is kind of like a dumb summary version of how many clicks you're getting out of what's available. And then we have some of these are UA, so Universal Analytics, so they are now dead, but there are GA4 versions of these. So this is data pulled in from Google Analytics, which can be really nice as a secondary metrics to try and judge the quality of the traffic coming through. And then we've got optimization score, which I kind of care about, but not that much, to be honest. This is Google's version of how it feels you're doing on optimizing, but screw Google a lot of the time because they tell you to do stupid things. So this is the campaign level. I'm then going to go into the keyword level, which is the bit that's most different. So you can see we've got keyword is first. So what actually is the keyword? Match type, this is very important to be aware of. I very often don't use broad match and I use phrase and exact a lot more. We've also got ad group, the actual ad group that's associated to. Then status, this can have problems sometimes. So is there a problem somewhere? Like, for example, it's limited because of some kind of policy violation, for example. Cost, so there you go. This is really important. What have we actually spent? Again, we're framing the data that we're then about to look at. If we've only spent £16, well, then we should be careful about judging that particular keyword. We've then got impressions, similar to before. We've got, the flow through it. But what's different about keywords is we also have these columns. So quality score. You don't automatically get most of this information as part of your column setup, but this is vital because if your quality score, before I go on, is, as it says here, an estimate of how relevant your ads, keywords, and landing pages are to a person who sees your ad. So for example, if I'm Domino's Pizza and I'm trying to rank for Pizza Hut, I will not get a good quality score because Google knows that that's not really what that person was searching for if someone just typed in Pizza Hut and I'm Domino's. So you will get a low quality score, but sometimes it works out anyway. So sometimes you're accepting of a low quality score because it's good anyway, but generally speaking, you want to try and make this good. So the way that you do that is you make the ad good, which is ad relevance, you make the landing page good, and you make the click-through rate good, expected click-through rate. So this is by making sure the experience the user has is perfect and nailed for that particular keyword. So you're essentially delivering what that user wanted when they clicked on your ad and saw your ad. That's the best way to look at it. So these columns are not included and they are vital when it comes to Google Ads. So those are the columns for Google Ads in the primary. So there we go. That is the Google Ads columns set up for you as in a way that I do it. There is a lot more to them, but this is a kind of a starting point for you that I think will get you a lot of the way towards set up nicely. As I said, I've created a downloadable for you that you can find in the description, which also has meta ads and LinkedIn ads in a really nice, simple spreadsheet for you to look over. Let me know what you think of it. Do you think I've missed anything? Anything else that I should have added to this? Any other questions? Leave them in the comments. Otherwise, please do subscribe so that I get to see you in the next one of these.